What is up, everyone? It's Quinn here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going through my Week 11 top 18 tight end rankings. If you guys enjoyed the video, do me a huge favor, hit that like button and subscribe. But let's just dive right into tier 1 here. And I feel like for my tight end 1 overall, I have to keep giving the respect to George Kittle. He continues to be consistent. He continues to have these high ceiling games. I mean, he's far and away the tight end 1 in points per game at 17.6. He continues to ball out, so I have him here as my tight end 1. Then my tight end 2 is going to be Travis Kelce. Had kind of a slow start to the season, but has just been on fire over the last 3 games. 20 plus PPR points in all 3 of them. Seems like he's right back to like that high-end tight end 1 production, so he definitely belongs here in tier 1. And then my tight end 3 also in tier 1, it's going to be Brock Bowers. As a rookie, he's come out and just been a really strong option despite pretty rough quarterback play. He is the tight end 2 at 14.2 PPR points per game. Coming off the bye week, I do think he belongs with these big dogs up in tier 1. Now looking at tier 2, starting off this tier with David Njoku, in his last 3 games, which keep in mind are the 3 games where Jameis Winston has played in, 2 starts, and then when he came in relief, Njoku has put up 23.6, 17.1, and 7.9 PPR points. Jameis is really just raising the floor and ceiling for these pass catchers. He could go out and have a great game like he did against the Ravens. He could also have a clunker like he did in the next game. Forgot who the opponent was. But the volume is going to be there. So even if he's struggling, if he's throwing picks, then they're going to be in a trailing game script where the volume, the targets are going to be there for those pass catchers. So I do like Njoku here in tier 2. Then I have Mark Andrews going up against the Steelers. Now, this is going to be assuming that Isaiah likely cannot play with his hamstring. Do not believe he has practiced yet this week, so that could open up the opportunity for Andrews. The whole Mark Andrews thing this season has been so weird because we know he's been super limited in his snaps, his routes. That's why the production wasn't great. He had a few solid games, but it was really just him like getting into the end zone. It's not like the volume increased or his role was actually improving. But then we see it's not like he's completely washed because the first game that Isaiah likely misses, he plays a significant role. The routes, the snaps, they shoot way up, and he goes 6 for 68 in a touchdown. So it makes his like early season usage even like that much weirder. So if likely can't play, I think Mark Andrews is a very, very strong option. Then wrapping up this tier with TJ Hawkinson, we saw him, kind of settle into the offense his first game back. Week 10, he still wasn't back to like his full usage in terms of his routes, still was under a 75% route participation, but he still produced with it. 9 targets, 8 receptions for 72 yards. He honestly might be better than even I was expecting coming off the torn ACL because it does seem like he's competing for like maybe even top 5 tight end rest of season. Not quite sure he gets there, but he's definitely going to be in the mix. Now looking at tier 3, 3 guys in this tier. My tight end 7 is going to be Tucker Kraft. And really, ever since he took over as the clear-cut tight end 1, he's just been a very productive, solid option. 13.7 PPR points per game in his last 6. Not a great matchup here against the Bears, but I think this Packers offense will be fine. Then I have Mike Gesicki going up against the Chargers. This was kind of a tough spot in week 10 because Gesicki had the back-to-back strong games. Week 8, week 9, no T. Higgins week 10. You're thinking, all right, this is the time I'm actually, I picked him up. This is where I'm actually going to start him in my lineup. And then he doesn't have a great game. He goes 4 for 30. But we still have a 3-game sample size, the last 3 games with no T. Higgins, also Eric All out for the season here. And in those last 3, he has gone 7 for 73, 5 for 102 touchdowns, and then 4 for 30. So if 4 for 30 is the floor game, I feel like you can live with it. I do like Mike Gesicki here as a top hit option. Once again, assuming that T. Higgins will not play. And then wrapping up tier 3, I have Kyle Pitts. He was on a little bit of a roll. Last couple of weeks haven't been as great. I think he's put up like 9+ points in 5 of his last 6. He's not a super high floor option, but at this point at the tight end position, like no one's a sure thing week to week. Now looking at tier 4, going to start off this tier with Evan Ingram. Honestly, the Trevor Lawrence shoulder thing is so disappointing. This is obviously assuming that Trevor Lawrence is not playing, but it seemed like rest of season with the Christian Kirk injury, how bad this defense was. Like these pass catchers were going to feast. Brian Thomas Jr. was having this great rookie season. Evan Ingram, we know last year was an absolute monster without Christian Kirk. And the Lawrence injury really just seems like it kills both these guys' value. Ingram didn't have a terrible game without Lawrence, 8 targets, 6 for 40, but Mac Jones looked pretty rough. This offense was not good. And that was also a game where Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't super involved. Don't think that is going to be an every week thing. This week, it seems like Vegas is not expecting T-Law to play. The Jaguars have the second lowest implied point total, so that's why Ingram's ranked lower than you'd probably be thinking. It's just the quarterback play, and then also just not a great matchup. After Ingram, I'm going to go with Sam Laporta in that same matchup against the Jaguars. Laporta really has been just like touchdown or bust. I do think this is a spot, though, where he has a decent shot of getting into the end zone, where some of these other guys maybe have struggled in like the blowout games, like an Amon-Ra. He's not putting up these insane numbers. Sam Laporta in the 2 blowouts has actually like been the one who's getting into the end zone. So he has 3 games with double-digit points. He has scored a touchdown in all 3 of them. The Lions are first in implied point total this week, so this could be the spot where Laporta gets another touchdown. Then I have Dallas Goedert going up against the Commanders. Made his return in Week 10, 2 for 25 with a touchdown. I think this is just where Goddard is as a player, as a fantasy option. He's in like this back end tight end 1 area. Then I have Hunter Henry, and we actually saw him have his first down game with Drake May at quarterback. He had 3 straight games with double-digit points, with May, healthy, playing the full game. Came back down to earth here in Week 10. Not overly concerned. I don't think anyone was expecting him to be like 12, 13 points per game rest of season. The floor is still there, but I still think in a 4-game sample size, he's been a pretty decent option with Drake May at quarterback. A couple more guys in this tier. We have Taysom Hill going up against the Browns. Now, is Taysom Hill going to be the highest floor play? Definitely not, but he does have this like very unique usage where in the last 2 games, he's been targeted 6 times. He has 9 carries. He's going to be used near the goal line. He's going to kind of just get these opportunities because the weapons are hurt for the Saints. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. So Taysom Hill, fine option in this tier 4 area. And then the last guy is going to be Dalton Kincaid. We just don't know if he's going to play this week, dealing with a knee injury. He's been disappointing. I mean, the dude's maxed out at 13.1 PPR points, but on a good offense, he always has that touchdown upside, to get into the end zone. And then the final tier here, tier 5, kind of getting into the gross options. Really sucks to have Jake Ferguson here, but I just don't know what this offense is going to look like without Dak. I mean, I guess we kind of do know, and it was not pretty in Week 10. He was 4 for 24 in that Week 10 game. It's just not a pretty sight here with no Dak. Then I have Zach Ertz going up against the Eagles. Ertz is the tight end 16 in points per game. Couple of, not so great games in a row. This is pretty much where he's settling in this season. And then I have Jonnu Smith going up against the Raiders. He's, been fairly involved. He has 45 or more yards in 4 of the last 5 games. Hasn't necessarily hit in the touchdown department, isn't delivering you like these insane stat lines. But at this point, with, tight ends on bye, a lot of teams not having guys who are relevant at all, if you can get someone who is at least, somewhat of a focal point of the offense, they could be potentially a desperate play. But that's going to wrap it up for my top 18. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe. If you have not seen all my other rankings videos, running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, defenses, check them out if you are interested. But thank you again for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.